I want to have a life that has wonder in it.
Yeah.
You know, and that the joy and the gratitude that comes with it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to try to keep making decisions that put me in the position where I'm doing things that it might just happen, you know?
Yeah.
Welcome back to In Residence. I'm Keith.
And I'm Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Keith.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing swell. What are we going to talk about?
This past weekend, we went to a wedding. It was a lot of fun. Just a good party.
Yeah, we haven't been to a wedding in a while.
No, we haven't. I don't know exactly why. Just how it goes.
Yeah, it was nice to be at a fun, good party.
Yeah.
Celebration.
It was fun going there with you.
Yeah.
So at the wedding, they had a caricature artist. They did a sing-along during the wedding to Beatles and the Beach Boys. They had a tarot card reading or psychic there. And then they had a roving magician.
Yeah.
Which was super fun.
Forgot about that until he came up to us.
Yeah,
and
me
I was
too.
like, yeah.
Because I think he came up to us and he's like, "Can I show you some magic?" Wasn't that?
Yeah, and he's like, I promise you that they know I'm here.
I'm like, oh, okay.
He was nice and he did a really good job.
He did. So we watched him and I was amazed because I know there's a way they're doing it, I think, but I could not catch how he did it. So there was one point he had me write on a card, put it back in the deck, and somehow the card that I wrote on was behind his back, all bent up and like tucked into his waistband or something.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yep. And then didn't he find my card? And then like the back of it changed from like a red card to a green card that said this one.
Yeah.
Like it was like, what? And then
it's like, how on earth?
Yeah. So he obviously he knows what he's doing and he's well trained and skilled in his craft. What did I say? I'm like, it was delightful. And then I was telling somebody else about it, and I think I said I enjoyed the wonder of simply surrendering to enjoying it and not trying to figure it out or catch him. And I still was like, I couldn't fully shut that off. Like I was hoping I would catch a glimpse,
catch a quick like
a little
sleight of the hand,
a little insight into it. But about halfway through, I also made like the intentional decision to just enjoy it. And like, I think I literally kind of had the thought of like, just lean into it and just surrender and enjoy the wonder that is, I want to know how he's doing it, but I also am really loving this magical feeling of not knowing. And, you know, he even had part of his thing was like, do you know the difference between an illusion and magic kind of thing? And that was like part of his act. You know, took out the ropes and was doing stuff and explaining, you know, I can make these look all the same length if I hold them like this, but that's just an illusion. And then he goes on and then he does magic and just blows everyone's mind, you know, and I'm like, oh yeah. So
yeah, there was a point where we were sitting down with another couple and their daughter, and we watched the similar things. And the daughter was so amazed. Her eyes were just big and her jaw was on the table.
Yeah.
Just like, what? I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun because I was sitting down and I think you went off to either get us another beverage or
something like that.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then people came back to like where they had left their stuff and they sat down and they were doing their own thing. And I was just sitting there waiting for you. And then the magician came over to them and asked if he could do magic for them. And I was just like, oh, I get to see it again. And then he remembered my name. He's like, is it okay if you see me do some more magic? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'll do something you haven't seen. And then he did a trick with a quarter for the guy that was with the family and had him hold it in his hand. And then he bent it without him opening his hand. And so that was one thing we hadn't seen before. But anyway, it was so incredible to watch that family see the wonder. And I'm throwing that around a lot because I can't, like, amazement, surprise, like, but to me, that's what really popped up was the awe of seeing something you can't quite explain and you can't understand how he made it happen. And so seeing, like you said, the look on her face and the enjoyment, and then seeing her parents enjoy it, but then getting to see them enjoy their child enjoying that,
Yeah.
it like kind of gives me goosebumps. So like, and again, I'm just kind of like, ooh, it's so much fun just to see that joy, I guess. That really stood out to me. And so I told you about it, obviously, like just how much I enjoyed it. And then I think I told a couple other people. Like my face hurt from smiling. No, I'm smiling talking about it too. So anyway, something that you thought was interesting, that I was so maybe affected by it. So.
Yeah. But it did make us think. We were just talking this morning about how great it can be to sit in wonder, but how oftentimes so many of us are wonder starved, or we don't always get the opportunity to be in situations where we get to experience wonder. I know for me, that's a lot of different reasons. Like I think about oftentimes, especially during the week, I'm just doing the grind, right? I'm getting up, I'm going to work, I'm paying the bills, I'm, doing the dishes, doing the laundry, getting on the walk.
Yeah.
But I have my stuff that I am just checking down the list. And when I'm not checking down the list, I'm not often in places where I experience wonder. I might be doom scrolling on social media. I might be puzzling or things like that, where I'm often keeping my mind busy, whether it's busy for work or busy for just living.
Yeah, it's almost like a pleasant distraction. And that's different than seeking something that is amazing or wondrous. That's an interesting way of thinking about that, because we create routines and habits usually in an effort to serve ourselves. But then, like you said, sometimes those habits are kind of to soothe ourselves, and we end up picking like, oh, what's going on social media? Or I'm like, oh, I'll go watch another YouTube video. Or even like puzzling is a really nice break sometimes for you, or a way for you to process. We've talked about that. It's kind of like driving a road you know so well that you kind of, you're not paying attention, but you don't have to give so much effort because you know it. That's a different thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I guess being so delighted by an experience that was so simple, like it didn't cost a lot of money. It didn't take a huge effort to get to, like, we traveled a little bit because we were generously invited by a friend to attend their wedding, and it's like, well, yeah, let's lean into this and like go have some fun. And so I don't know, it's just, there's something there that I want to explore. And I think a lot of things are popping in my head, and I think I'll be incoherent if I don't take a beat. So I'm going to hand it back to you, and you let me know what's going on with you.
One thing that is because it was so enjoyable to experience that, because it was unexpected. It made us smile. You wanted to understand it, but you also enjoyed the fact that you didn't fully understand it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Can I say something?
Please.
My brain was popcorning, so I couldn't remember like one of my thoughts. And you just reminded me, I think why it is standing out so much to me is that I spend a lot of my time and energy trying to figure things out in the day-to-day. You and I are both learners, and we in almost to a fault sometimes, right? Like it can be a way to hide and stall, right? Yeah. There's almost always more information for a lot of the things I'm into.
Yeah.
So reflecting on like, why was that so moving to simply enjoy the moment and not care what was behind it? Like, I didn't need to know what kind of mirrors or springs or whatever he was using, not that he wasn't.
Yeah, I don't
like
think
smoke and mirrors. Sorry, is what I'm trying to say. And so I was thinking through this, and I was just like, I think it was just relaxing to let go of needing to know.
Right.
And I think that's kind of attached to like how I'm a bit of a control freak. And and then I think that made me think of like the let them theory, Mel Robbins, that basically it's about like you got to realize what you can and can't control. And the little secret is there's a lot more out of your control than is in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so,
It's true.
yeah, seeing some really great magic tricks. Maybe it's not even nice to call them tricks. Like, it was magic because it was magical. And like the way it made me feel like it's magical, I could simply enjoy instead of having to go to work in my head thinking of how did that happen.
Mm-hmm.
It would almost ruin it.
Yeah.
There's still part of me that wants to know.
I know.
Because it's so cool. I think it's maybe because I want to be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Lean into that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was another thing I think of these things and then I forget about them. But that was kind of like a little epiphany after I was talking about it with you earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why does it stand out so much to me? And I'm like, oh, probably because I want to do that for people too.
Yeah. I like it. So in a slightly different direction, just about wonder, in preparing for today was thinking about when are those moments that I experience wonder that maybe aren't, because I'm not often at weddings that have an amazing magician. And so what are those moments that I think are wondrous? And for me, one of those things is being in nature and not fully comprehending how everything is fitting together or how beautiful places came to be, because we'll never fully know. I think that might be one of the reasons being outside, being in the woods really does restore me in a way. It just delights me. Even just thinking about, I love like walking in the woods and being like, oh man, that shelf mushroom, how did it get to be there? And how does it coexist on that thing? And like, I know the biology behind it, but there's something that is so intangible to understand how that could exist right there in that space when it could have completely just fallen, like the spore could have just fallen and nothing could have ever been created, you know? And so for me, that nature is one of those things that I feel wonderment about.
Do you ever, like when you see things like that, do you ever think, well, I learned how or why that's happening, but maybe that's simply the best explanation we have right now. And is that really what happened? That's what that makes me think of. And maybe I'm kind of tickled by the idea that maybe it's not the full explanation, and maybe there's like a little unknown underneath. What maybe else might be going on anyway.
Yeah. Well, even, and I can't remember if I talked about this on our Sweden podcast. When we were in Sweden, we went to see my grandpa Victor's house where he grew up. And there was a big rock there that he had drilled a hole in to demonstrate that he had the perseverance to travel with his cousins to the United States, because he was only 17 at the time. And so when we were there looking for this hole in the rock, because we knew the story, we had visited it 30 years ago, there was this tuft of grass that was peeking out of the rock. And I remember looking at it, and my mom goes, grass doesn't grow in rocks. Like, ooh, that's right. And I kind of touched down by the roots, and it was kind of soft. And then we kind of wiggled it out, and we're able to find the hole. And so
just pulled a plug of roots out.
Plug of roots, yeah, that had, I mean, it must have been filling for 100 years. Oh gosh, now I'm really bad at math. Maybe not quite 100 years.
Okay.
But that, it like you're saying, of how could that seed have grown into this? I was thinking in that moment, how could the seeds grow in the rock? And to the point, how could it be that we are at that place where there's a tuft of grass and my mom could notice that, wait, grass doesn't grow out of a rock. And we were able to make that connection. There was that moment, she and I were both like, oh my goodness, I wonder if.
What's really cool about that is, how could that be? We made the decisions and chose the action of traveling over there.
Yeah.
So you made the choice to put yourself into a position to experience that.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of getting maybe bogged down in the daily grind, like when you notice that's happening and you're kind of like, oh, I haven't really made any progress or maybe strides in some of the things that maybe I thought I would, because I just don't have the energy, kind of thing. That doesn't turn itself around unless you make a choice, right? And like, that's something we've talked about, and maybe not in a while.
Mm-hmm.
The power of agency. And when we decide, my first step, the first thing for me to do, and it's like, well, just make a decision. And usually that decision includes like a small little action. You set yourself up to be in those situations, I think. And
yeah,
trying to hold on to that empowerment of realizing like we can make those little actions happen.
Mm-hmm. What I like about that is we can make the space for the actions to happen, but we also have to let go and realize we can't control everything. Specifically with that example, okay, we're going to try and find the house.
Oh, yeah.
And we drove all the way down this road. We had the right road.
It was a few miles, which feels like several miles when you don't know the road and it's windy and you're in a different country and it's really a narrow road.
And so we drove all the way down this road and we turned around and my dad said, well, let's drive back. I think I know where it might be. I was like, oh no, we're not going to know. It's been over 30 years and I really wanted to see it.
It was like being transported 30 years ago, back before MapQuest even was around, remember?
Right, because honestly, the only thing I know of it was a painting that my grandma did that hangs over my parents' stairway.
When you told me that, I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, that's what that painting is?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. I'm like, oh.
It's Grandpa Victor's house.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, quick side note.
Yeah.
Because I brought up maps and stuff.
Yeah.
Child one got his license.
Yeah, he did.
So that's a new and kind of exciting thing. But I was telling him there was a map of the state at the DMV.
Okay.
And it was kind of big, but I said, okay. I said, see that map of the state? I'm like, we used to have books called atlases that had every state like that. And if you were lucky, there was a city big enough that you were going to where they kind of blew it up. And that's how we used to get around. That, or we had to stop and ask somebody when to turn left or right to get to where we wanted to go. He was just
look at you like, where are you from?
Well, yeah, dude. I'm like, it was amazing. We made it anywhere. So
it's actually quite true.
But anyway, so that, I mean, maybe that there's a little something there that ties into this, but like trying to find our way and like not even though we had all the technology in the world, it didn't matter because we didn't have an address.
Because we didn't know. We just had a painting. Well, I just had a painting in my head.
Yeah.
So we pulled over. My dad's like, I think this is it. We pulled over and this neighbor was probably wondering, I'm just weeding my garden. What are these people doing? And so we told the story and she's like, well, just go up. Of course, they're our neighbor. We, go and look. And so they weren't home, but we were able to at least take a few pictures from the fence. And
you weren't like up, like looking in their house or anything.
Gosh, no. I think my dad did go and like ring the doorbell or knock just to see if they were there.
Fair.
Just because honestly, when you're taking pictures of someone's house, it probably could feel weird. So we did try and say hi, but they weren't there. That's okay. That was a moment that I thought, oh gosh, what are the odds? 1, that we found the house. 2, that we found the rock. And 3, that we actually found the hole in the rock when it had been plugged up with sediment for years with grass growing out of it.
Yeah, the other thing that pops up with that, which conveniently ties into the last episode where we were talking about curiosity and stuff. I think that's really how, looking back, like how we've set ourselves up to find those experiences that have that kind of wow factor, or like, can you believe that happened? Being curious and being okay with the unknown. Like we drove down a road that we were pretty sure it was on, but we kind of had to be on the lookout and find it. And like, we had to backtrack and be like, okay, I think this is it. And we just had to embrace that.
We did.
And got a cool family story out of it, you know, and to see something that's the lore of your family, you know. So
yeah, our family wouldn't be here today if great grandpa Victor didn't
have that persistence
and make the trip to the United States, set out in that way. Pretty cool. Sometimes I think having wonder feels like an afterthought or just something extra, like not necessary. So because you can go through life and be busy, appointment to appointment, soccer practice, tennis practice, band practice, right? Boom, 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 go, go, go. You can get all the things done on your to-do list, reach for your goals, make all that progress. But if all you're doing is the grind, it's really hard to think, what can wonder do to benefit you? What are the good things about it? And what do we gain from finding it and experiencing it? I thought it might be a good idea for us to talk about that a little bit. And so thinking about that, what do you gain from experiencing things that bring you wonder?
It definitely shifts my energy, elevates my mood. I mean, it lights me up, you know, so I don't know if it's what I just said or if it changes the frequency of how I'm vibrating or something, you know, like.
Yeah.
But watching the magic, I don't think I stopped smiling for the whole experience. Right now. Yeah. And then I had just as big of a grin when I saw it again, and he did the same for the other family. It wasn't identical, and they picked different cards, which is even more impressive.
Right.
You know, so, and if somebody knows how it's done, there's something else to that, and they get to kind of, like, if they're listening to us, they're kind of like, oh, they just don't know that this is how it's done, kind of thing. But I bet for how much, like, I kind of want to know how some of those things are done. If I did know, part of me would kind of be like, I kind of wish I didn't know, so that I could have experienced it again as like somebody that just didn't know, and it was just awe-inspiring.
Yeah. I'm thinking, and I keep going back to nature sort of examples, but there's a trail near us called the Pothole Trail.
Oh, I remember now.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm like our roads after winter?
Well, yes. We have lots of potholes here. You're right about that. But it's called the Pothole Trail, and I know how it was made. So there's these really large circular holes on this trail that were made from when rocks would come when was it the Ice Age?
Yeah.
When it was melting, and the rocks would come and they would burrow into the rock and kind of hollow out.
There'd be like little whirlpools and stuff.
Yeah, whirlpools. And it would like hollow out these really amazing round
potholes,
essentially. But smoother potholes than the ones we experience.
They're like bowls in the ground. Yeah.
Like big bowls. Yeah, big bowls in the ground. And every time I've gone to look at them and done the trail, every time I'm like, wow, I can't believe, like, I know logically what happened here, but I can't fathom how that happened, how long it took, that all these right conditions came together to make this possible and be. So, like, when I'm in those moments, another example, like waterfalls. Like when I see waterfalls, oh, they are just beautiful. So, we have one near us, but when I was in Norway growing up as a young kid, seeing these waterfalls, I just look and I'd be like, whoa. You know, you take a beat or 5 and just look and go, that is amazing. And I can't even fathom, how did all the conditions set up this most spectacular vision of nature? I don't know. You're laughing at me, but I get really inspired by nature.
I'm being kind of like, it's gravity.
Well, some of it's gravity, but how did that, or you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I just get very, or even, and
what
maybe,
were the conditions that led to this
Yeah.
And then what are the conditions that led to me getting to witness it?
Right. Even so, sometimes, like we have a trail near our house too. And sometimes we have, especially in the springtime, if you go on a walk, you'll see like a baby fawn and the mama deer. And sometimes you'll just be walking and they'll just kind of look at you and just sit there. And I'm like, what are the odds that I get to see this baby deer? I know.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? Because it could hide, it could run, it could do this.
Uh-huh.
But there's been a number of times it's just like looking, I'm like, hey dear, how are you? I don't know. Those are the things that bring me this. How lucky am I to witness this? And what are the odds that I would have been able to witness this? And actually, like there's a part of it that brings me happiness and joy, and another part of wonder that brings me gratefulness.
Yeah.
Or like
Gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking that at one point here during our conversation that like as that's something that we gain from it is there's like a sense of gratitude underneath it. I think of like what I hear from you is like how lucky am I to get to see this?
Yeah.
And that's gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Another lens, so I know I've been leaning on nature a lot, but another lens is music. There's one thing to play a piece, and there's another thing to be musical. When you play that piece and it just transcends the notes on the page.
Mm-hmm.
We just went to a concert this fall season with Child 1 and Child 2, and there were some moments during that concert, especially with the piano. So I'm a pianist, so I love Glenn Hansard, but I love hearing the piano that are just almost haunting in a really beautiful way. And so that's another thing where you just sit there and you listen to the interplay between the music and knowing it's never been played quite like this anywhere else, never will be played exactly like this somewhere else. That is just amazing.
Yeah, music came to mind when I was thinking about this, like going to concerts, listening to music, playing music.
Yeah.
It's kind of you can transcend in a way. And I don't know if that's because you become so present
Right.
that you're out of thinking about something that may happen or something that did happen,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're simply in the moment, in the experience that can make things slow down in a way, and you can just sit in it. And I know we talk about it a lot, but the thing with music, it is vibration. And it's just there's something there, and I know it like I'm gonna say like it resonates with you, you know, but like I really do think that there's something there. It's almost like a cheat code
Mm-hmm.
to get yourself into that headspace of maybe transcendence or wonderment, because of the way that those vibrations can affect us.
Yeah.
And literally resonate within us, like if it's loud enough, you know, or you're close enough to it. But yeah, that was definitely like one of those kinds of experiences for me that came to mind when I'm like, well, where do I seek it out? So
I often use music as a tool to help me get into a higher level thinking and higher level performance. I know one thing at work, if I'm trying to clear out all the clutter and try and find the piece that like where I need to go, I have some really key things I listen to. And I don't think that's unique. You know, when I was at another institution, there's someone and she was so nice and just quiet as can be. And she's like, when I'm doing financial stuff, I'm listening to Metallica 100%. You know, she's like, it drives me.
yeah.
For me, my things, I listen to the Hamilton soundtrack. I love Hamilton.
Yeah.
Listen to Hamilton. I listen to Michael Franti, the Alabama Shakes, and LP. Those are kind of the ones that I have been toggling between right now. Oh, and Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. That's another one that I hear that first note and my brain's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, I use music as like a cue to do certain things.
Uh-huh.
For sure. I mean, I put it on when I'm journaling in the morning, but I can't listen to something with words usually while I'm trying to write.
Yeah.
Depending on the type of work I have to do, like sometimes I'll put on, like somebody I worked with got me into electronic music, but it was like, I think the artist was like Excision or something, or Excision.
EDM?
It was like heavy. It's like heavier than that or something
All
to
right.
me. I don't know.
I'm learning so much right now.
Yeah. But it was like, oh, I'll play some for you later. And you're probably like, oh, I think you played this for me before. I'm like, yeah. And I don't now imagine me listening to this while I'm making cabinets.
All I can think of right now is like, was it Men Without Hats? The You Can Dance If You Want to in Biodome.
Safety dance.
Like you're like Polly Shore, like in Biodome.
Kind of.
Like working.
Just something that can just, it's almost meditative and just like you can kind of almost forget about it. But like, what I was talking about was like aggressive, like heavy, and kind of just something that is almost like I need white noise, but something with a beat. Anyway.
I like that.
I go usually for more classical type stuff while I'm writing or like guitar music.
That makes sense. I go to piano music.
Well, I'll do some piano music too if I can find. I've got to find more like composers and things that are like what I'm looking for, because there's like a certain sound and I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it's probably a little more modern than the stuff that we went to school like critiquing and analyzing.
I see your face like, not so sure about it.
Not quite Vivaldi and stuff like. And, you know, like, I'm kind of like, I can enjoy that stuff, but it's like, I'm looking for something that's a little more modern, I think is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
But it's totally been informed by all of that type of stuff. So,
yeah. I'm always looking for something from the Impressionistic period. And I have like a piano chill Apple playlist that I always put on.
Yeah.
And they just rotate out songs. And I'm always like, oh, we're going to forward through that. I'm always looking for music that I can't quite see the beginning or the end. It's just a little nebulous.
Yeah.
That might not be the way to explain Impressionistic music, but Mr. Roy would be like, oh, Laura, right now. But I really like how flowing it is. And honestly, if you think, sorry, I didn't make this connection, but if you think about Impressionist music, that fits pretty well with thinking about wonderment, because you're sitting there and it doesn't feel so strict or within specific rules. It's more about creating something that you can visualize and go with. And I've always really, really loved the Impressionistic period. For our wedding, I think it was our recessional. That's the when you go out, right?
Sure.
Yeah, for our recessional, I had our piano player for the wedding play a Debussy song. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, that wasn't nice. Because they're hard.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. But they're hard. I'm like, oh, I just made her learn a Debussy song for my wedding. But
I think it flows. And I think that's the same thing about what we're talking about, is like you kind of find this sense of flow in these experiences or in these moments. And I guess maybe, like I said, you can like surrender to that flow and sit in it or drift with it kind of thing. And that's kind of what that music makes me think of a little bit.
Yeah. I like that idea of a sense of flow and just even stillness in the moment. So I'm thinking about another example. This spring, Child 1 and Child 2 and I visited my sister in Seattle, and they have a place on one of the islands, and we got to see several gray whales out in the Sound, which is not something that you see in Wisconsin.
Right.
Right.
Well, it's fairly rare out there too, isn't it?
Yeah, it seemed a little bit more rare out there too. And so Child 1 came up, he's like, there's a whale out there. And we're like, wait, what? Nah, nope, there was a gray whale out there. And so to sit out there and hear the it was magical. And there was this amount of flow and continuity, but stillness at the same time, being present in something that was so magnificent.
a unique experience
Yeah.
for you and the family.
Yeah. Agreed. So we've been talking about this. The one thing I'm still struggling with is we'll wrap up this conversation. We'll go back to our day and we'll get back into the grind. Busy, appointments, commitments. How do we notice and make space so wonderment can occur?
I found a note that was simply a heading.
Okay.
And I copied it and I put it into my notes for like this episode or our conversation, you know? And there was nothing else in this note. It was just the heading. So I hadn't gone back to it.
Did you do it or did I? I do that sometimes.
Oh, I do it all the time. I think it was it's from January of this year. The heading was, what kind of life do you want to live?
Mm.
And that I'm like, what did so I clicked to see what I wrote and I'm like, I didn't write anything. It was just something that I need to be thinking about. And when you talk about this, that's what it makes me think of.
Yeah.
It's up to me to take the time and take the actions that set me up to have the moments of wonder and just allow them to happen. And it's just small steps, but intentionally seeking it out by making decisions to not simply be like, I'm not gonna go do that because I'm tired or this or that. It's like, am I tired or am I just used to not doing anything?
Right.
I guess with that too, it's like, because that's been changing over the last couple of years, as I've been like reintegrating myself back to the things that used to light me up, and that, like, we're going to concerts, and seeing how does that feel. And for the most part, it feels pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
We traveled a little bit last year, and then a little more this year. A lot more this year for me. But
right.
It's kind of like exposure therapy.
Sure. A little bit at a time.
And I think that's how you inject more wonder and like setting yourself up is just go for a walk. I did that the other day finally after, my back is feeling better. Just might as well fit that in here. It's like my back was not great for like 2 months.
No, it was not.
And it's like still, I'm being cautiously optimistic and doing the physical therapy and stuff that I need to do. But like, it's going to get better if I do the work.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I want to have a life that has wonder in it.
Yeah.
And that the joy and the gratitude that comes with it.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm going to try to keep making decisions that put me in the position where I'm doing things that it might just happen,
Yeah.
And I might decide to go do something and it might not. It might be like, let's turn around, let's go do something else. Like, that's okay. Right. Like, it's okay.
Yeah. You tried it.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. So one thing I'm thinking about too is giving myself permission to slow down. And by slowing down, not meaning slow down so I can fit in more content in my head, but slowing down to truly notice things. Even thinking about, so our garden this year, I shouldn't laugh. My garden this year has become a garden weed symbiotic project.
I think the fence is just keeping the lawnmower out at this point.
I'm pretty sure. Yes, the grass is hardy in there right now. I might do some tomorrow. We'll see.
You should transplant it into the front yard.
Well, don't want to get too crazy.
Yeah.
But I will say, not as much this year, but in years past. And maybe this is a cue for me to spend more time outside in the garden and with my plants. But slowing down and noticing even just my plants and how are they progressing? How are they being pollinated? Watching the bees buzz around, seeing my green beans come to fruition. But even things like, oh my goodness, I have some caterpillars on the milkweed or caterpillars on the dill. Maybe we could watch the journey of a butterfly. Things like that. That's something I love to do.
Haven't done that in a while.
We haven't. But if I had a caterpillar, we'll do it. Because I really do enjoy being able to see the metamorphosis stages. And that's a wonderment, right? Of being able to, and what actually happens in the cocoon that goes from caterpillar to beautiful butterfly. I did that a lot with the kids when they were young, because I had that. My mom did that a lot with us when we were growing up. And she sees a caterpillar, she's going to grab it, take it in, feed it, and release the butterfly when it comes out of its chrysalis. It's making me remember one year, I think it was child 2 was double checking the caterpillars that we had in our big kind of container in the house, and he let one free. And so it created a chrysalis on our sliding glass window. Do you remember that?
That's right, yeah.
And I remember it sitting up there, and it was beautiful because monarchs have that light green with the gold dots around. Again, I have no idea how that happens, but I'm just in awe of how it happens. And I remember sitting there being like, all right, we're going to have a monarch in the house because the caterpillar got free and made itself a cocoon. So I believe it came out and we caught it and we, gently and were able to release it pretty easily. But small moments like that. So just slowing down and not filling your life with, and every single moment with tasks and things. So you can notice the things that are remarkable.
And it can be simple things. Like I wrote down slowing down.
Did you?
And I wrote down slowing down and meandering together with you.
I love meandering.
It's
one of my favorite things.
That wedding weekend.
Yeah.
We had an afternoon and evening. We were just together and in the city.
Yeah.
We had no agenda. Nothing had to be done. And so we just kind of meandered about together and popped into different places. And
I think we found the best wings in Madison.
Yeah, they were really good.
They were really good.
They're pretty wonderful.
They were pretty wonderful.
Yeah, so that's funny that you brought that up. I'm like, oh, maybe I didn't mention slowing down because I can create the space for those things to happen.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because sometimes I feel like we feel the pressure to rush and to pack our days with everything.
You definitely do.
I know I do. But
or have a tendency to.
I do have a tendency to. I don't sit still well. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I think so. But those magical little moments that come when we aren't fully packed, just great.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get out of here.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
I love you.
Okay, bye.